Wallabies have named their updated squad for the Rugby Championship. I'll go through the squad itself in just a moment, but it's largely pretty steady, but there are a few kind of comings and goings from the squad that we should talk about. The most obvious one being the fact that Quade Cooper is going to join up with the Wallabies guys today. If he hasn't done so already, he probably has, given that it's already in the afternoon. Yeah, because James O'Connor is not 100% fit. He's not going to make the early games. He's only going to be available for the latter stages of the Rugby Championship. So, yeah, they're calling upon the services of one Quade Cooper. Quade can't get an Aussie passport. Cooper. Crazy, crazy times. Whether the dude gets any games obviously remains to be seen. Lolesio is the guy. Yeah, they have got Cooper there, I guess, as kind of a backup, and I'm sure he'll be a good mentor for some of the younger guys as well. The squad itself, Kaitu'u, Lonergan, Paengamosa, and Lolesio are your hookers, so that's pretty steady as she goes. I don't think there's any changes there. Alaalatoa, Bell, Fa'amosili, Robertson, Sio, Slipper, and Tupou are your props. So Tom Robertson getting a recall is one of the changes. There was a bit of a call that, man, the Force kind of got shafted when the initial Wallabies squad was named, and he was one of the guys suggested that could have been named. Well, he is now part of the squad. Kaitu'u and Fa'amosili, speaking of guys in the front row, are two of the guys who haven't yet managed to get caps yet, but have been kind of with the Wallabies squad. Locks, you have got Frost, Phillip, Rodder, Salakai, Loto, Swain. And I guess Leota a little bit as well. He's kind of lock loose forward cover. But the big news there is that Isaac Rodder is back. Remember, he's, I think, joining the Force for next season. So he is back after having his kind of exodus. And it seems there's a lot of Aussie fans that are kind of torn on Isaac Rodder. Some people saying the dude should have taken a pay cut. Because remember, he left. Him and several of the Reds guys left when they were kind of told they would have to take reduced wages with the pandemic and rugby being off. So he had opted to go overseas, and he has now come back. Some people welcoming him back. I mean, he's still pretty young. What is he? I did write down his age. He's 24. Already played 25 times for the Wallabies. So certainly a handy guy to have back. And Frost is, I think, one of the few actual legit call-ups from the Aussie ranks who missed out initially. But what that does mean is Sitaleki Tamani, he is out of the squad without kind of getting a game. He was initially called up, but is now on his way out. Lucy's, you have got Hooper, Leota, as I mentioned, McReight, Naisarani, Samu, Swinton, Valtini, and Wilson. So Michael Wells was one of the guys who was initially called up, but he has made his way out. He is no longer going to be required. I guess that's due to the fact that Pete Samu is back in, and he kind of covers that 6'8" position as well. Valtini as well, covering those areas. So Samu was injured, but he has made his recovery, so he is back fit, and he is back in the squad. He was one of the guys who they kind of, people would mention, man, where's Samu? Why isn't Samu playing? So good to see him back. Backs, you have got Gordon, Ryan Lonergan, McDermott, and White as your nines. Remember, White was injured, so didn't get any games against France, but he is apparently back fit now, so whether he takes the starting gig or whether that's McDermott. Remember, Gordon got the first couple of games. I would imagine White is up the picking order, either one or two. We will see. Lolesio, James O'Connor, and as I mentioned, Quade Cooper are there at 10. Apparently, Tamua and Hodge are not really seen as 10s by Dave Rennie at this point. So Lolesio is going to be the guy if James O'Connor is going to miss the first few games. And then maybe Quade there as backup. So that's a crazy return for that guy. But man, I hope to see him play. It'd be great to see him play the All Blacks again. We will get booing him again. The All Blacks fans never get tired of booing Quade Cooper for some reason. Just him and his spats with Richie McCaw always seem to get us Kiwi fans riled up, but he's a good bloke, I think. Seems like a bit of a character. Midfielders, you got Samoa, Foketi, Hodge, Ikitau, Paisami, Paiawa, and Petaya. So there's two kind of call-ups there in Paiawa and Petaya. Petaya was injured, so he's back fit, so that's great news. Covers midfield and covers wing. Heck of a talented guy, good at breaking a tackle, got a good turn of speed. So heaps of talent, just gets injured a wee bit too much, but that's kind of beyond his control. We wish him a good fit run where he doesn't get any injuries, kind of like what we had from Valtini. It's been great to see him fit for an extended period. And Paiawa, he's based in France. Remember, he's another one of those guys who left the Reds. I feel like he left the Reds just as they were starting to get good. When Brad Thorne took over, he was one of their main guys. I think ran the show mainly in the midfield and at 10, but maybe he fell down the pecking order a little bit, decided to leave. He's been playing in Toulon, so he is one of the few guys. Remember, they've adjusted Giddo's law that they can select 2 guys with under 60 caps for the Wallabies from abroad to come and play, so he is one of those selections. He can cover 10 as well, so maybe he is one of those options with the 10 ranks looking a bit thin. I should say, you might be asking, man, why are they calling upon Quade Cooper when they've got young guys like Harrison and what's the other guy? Gordon? No, Donaldson. Ben Donaldson. Gordon's the halfback. New South Wales, with the COVID situation it's in, these guys would have to do quarantine, I think, when they get to New Zealand. They won't be able to link up with the squad in time. So they've kind of ruled out picking the guys based in New South Wales. So Ben Donaldson and Will Harrison have kind of not been considered. Otherwise, I think they probably would be in there ahead of Quade. But it's kind of needs must at the moment. I should have mentioned that earlier. But anyway, and outside backs, you got Kellaway, Koroibete, Muirhead, Wright, and Banks. Dalgunu's out with a broken arm. Remember, Izzy Parise is also out. He's having shoulder surgery. He was initially named in the Wallabies squad, but then ended up playing against France because he had to have shoulder surgery. So, yeah, Pataya Paiawa back into the squad. Cooper. I mean, Paiawa has played for the Wallabies once against the Barbars, but he's not officially been capped. So, yeah, it's an interesting mix. I would say, yeah, Tamani out because Rodder's in. Wells out because Samu's back and Dalgunu is injured, as I mentioned. Parise was initially. Vunivalu is another one. Vunivalu's not fit either. He's still working his way back. But yeah, it's an interesting mix. Quade Cooper's going to get all the headlines. I don't think he gets any game time. But as I said, he's got experience. And yeah, hopefully his addition to the squad can have a positive impact. I'd love to see him get a game. What can I say? I don't mind watching Quade. He's a bit of a love or hate him guy. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts. How competitive do you think the Wallabies are going to be in the BLEDISLOE and the Rugby Championship? With the suspension of free travel between Australia and New Zealand, it's likely going to be 2 games in New Zealand, I think, and 1 in Perth, with Dave Rennie having ruled out playing 3 games in New Zealand, saying, nah, that's not going to happen. So I'm sure they'll work something out, fingers crossed. And yeah, you guys have any thoughts? I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.